I do too. It's a great day to be me because I am not Donald Trump. That guy has got a lot of problems. First of all, the Jeffrey Epstein scandal just won't kill itself. And we might have a hint why Trump hasn't been that eager to release those files, because according to Senator Dick Durbin...
The laughter inside the studio faded before Stephen Colbert had even completed his opening thought. He stepped onto the stage wearing his familiar grin, waited for the applause to settle, and then quietly gestured toward the massive screen behind him. There was no dramatic soundtrack, no flashing headline, just a dark backdrop with 5 empty frames waiting to be revealed. Looking directly into the camera, Colbert said, "Sometimes a joke doesn't need a setup. Sometimes the setup is already sitting inside the picture." The audience chuckled briefly, then fell silent. The first image appeared. It showed Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein standing together at a social gathering, appearing relaxed, surrounded by the unmistakable atmosphere of wealth, influence, and privilege. Colbert did not raise his voice. He did not make accusations. Instead, he allowed the image to remain on the screen long enough for the audience to understand why it mattered. For years, Trump had dismissed questions regarding Epstein, minimized any connection, and maintained that there was little worth discussing. Yet the photograph remained, offering a visual reminder that words alone could not easily erase.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
Yes. No, he's right. The Epstein saga is a total snooze fest. I mean, the most powerful man in the world is blocking information about a cabal of the rich.
Photographs possess a unique kind of influence. They rarely tell the entire story, but they often make denial more difficult. And Colbert understood exactly how to use that effect. A second image appeared, then a third. Different locations, different moments, the same uncomfortable reality. Influential people often travel through the same social circles long before the public fully understands the nature of those connections. Colbert carefully clarified that a photograph does not prove every allegation. It is not a verdict, a courtroom ruling, or a complete account of history. However, when a public figure spends years emphasizing distance from someone, repeated images can create questions that refuse to disappear. The studio grew noticeably quieter. Older viewers watching from home immediately recognized the significance. They had witnessed decades of public figures standing beside individuals they would later claim to barely know. They had watched major scandals unfold piece by piece through documents, interviews, photographs, and names emerging one after another. History rarely arrives in a single dramatic explosion. More often, it appears through a collection of uncomfortable details that gradually become impossible to ignore. Colbert stepped away from his desk as the fourth photograph filled the screen. The lighting had not changed, yet the atmosphere felt completely different. The audience was no longer waiting for a punchline. They were studying expressions, body language, and the easy confidence of people who likely never imagined their photographs would one day be examined frame by frame. Then Colbert delivered a line that drew a thoughtful murmur from the crowd. The trouble with old photographs is that they remember what powerful people hope everyone else forgets.
The Jeffrey Epstein scandal just won't kill itself. Have a hint why Trump hasn't been that eager to release those files. 1,000 FBI agents were put on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records and instructed to flag any documents that mentioned Donald Trump.
It was the kind of reaction that happens when comedy brushes against something deeply recognizable. But Colbert was only getting started. He shifted the discussion away from the photographs themselves and toward a broader pattern. He reminded viewers that Trump has frequently responded to difficult questions by attacking the people asking them. Reporters become dishonest. Judges become unfair. Prosecutors become politically motivated. Comedians become irrelevant. Yet a photograph is different. It cannot be insulted. It cannot argue back. It does not defend itself. It simply remains in place, waiting for viewers to decide whether the explanation matches what they can see with their own eyes. Then the fifth image appeared. This time, Colbert remained silent. The room became completely still. Even the usual energy of a late-night audience seemed to disappear. 5 photographs had accomplished what endless shouting often could not. They slowed the conversation. They stripped away the noise. No slogan could remove what was on the screen. No nickname could dismiss it. No angry social media post could erase what viewers had already seen. Finally, Colbert turned back toward the camera. He said the issue was not whether people should invent facts beyond the available record. They should not. The real question, he argued, was why certain powerful figures expect unlimited benefit of the doubt while rarely extending the same courtesy to others. If the relationship was truly insignificant, why did discussions about it seem to trigger such strong reactions? If the images meant nothing, why did the room suddenly feel so heavy? At that point, the segment expanded beyond Trump and Epstein. It became a discussion about memory, influence, and public accountability. It explored how fame, wealth, politics, and controversy often intersect in the same spaces. It questioned why ordinary citizens should feel free to ask uncomfortable questions without being pressured into silence. Colbert emphasized that accountability does not mean declaring guilt based solely on a photograph. It means refusing to pretend that a photograph does not exist simply because it creates discomfort for someone powerful. By the end of the segment, the audience remained unusually quiet. That silence became the most powerful response of the night. There was no thunderous laughter, no triumphant music, and no exaggerated ending. There was only Colbert standing beneath the studio lights with 5 photographs displayed behind him and a room full of people who understood the message without needing it repeated. For years, Trump had worked to shape the narrative around himself. But on that particular night, the narrative belonged to the images on the screen. Those 5 photographs did not raise their voices. They simply remained where everyone could see them, silent, undeniable, and impossible to overlook.